Apparently technical hitch has been rectified and we are now streaming live on YouTube. So we'll just wait for Elaine to come back and then we will make a start. We'll just let anybody in who's in the waiting room and then we'll crack on. Thank you for your patience this evening. Okay, you just need to unmute yourself. Okay.
There's some people in the waiting room.
Yeah, I can't. None of us had host ability, so we couldn't do it. Okay, I'll just.
Yeah. All.
Okay, can you co-host me?
Yeah, sorry about that. It just everything just disappeared.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just.
I'm afraid to share screen. I'm going to need to be a co-host of some description. If you could sort that.
We will ping you that over, Willow, as soon as we'll get to that point and then do that.
Fab, thank you.
People are coming in thick and fast. So, sorry about that. It was a bit panicky there. Yeah. Didn't want to be zooming, YouTubing to the wrong YouTube.
Okay, we're just letting people in. Sorry, they had a few technical issues. We are now just waiting for people to come in from the waiting room, and then I will make a start.
Elaine.
So I am just going to mute people as to prevent the background noise. Okay, Elaine, I've muted you because I've done a mute all, so you'll need to unmute yourself.
Ever hopeful.
Okay, and is that everybody?
Can't see anyone. I can't see anyone waiting.
Okay, I'll keep an eye. I will make a start if that's okay. Welcome to the annual town meeting of Tuesday, 20th April 2021. It's nice to see so many people here this evening. Although this isn't a town council meeting per se, it's the annual town meeting, we will be sticking to the same rules in terms of people's behaviours. So anybody who exhibits any abusive, threatening behaviour this evening will be removed from the meeting. So it's just to let people know that. Okay, to receive apologies from absence, Elaine, do we have any apologies for absence?
I've got none at the moment, no.
Okay, thank you. So there's none to accept. Okay, agenda item 3, to approve the minutes of the town meeting held on Monday, the 20th of May, 2019. These were circulated to all of the councillors. It was a long while to remember back to. So I trust you've all read them. I'm happy to propose them if there's no queries or amendments that need to be made. Can't see anybody, so I'll propose them. Can I get a seconder?
No, I'm just saying I didn't get any of the minutes.
Okay, you wouldn't get them as a borough council. They'd probably just go to the town councillors because it's an annual town meeting, Tony. But we can certainly forward them to you.
They were actually sent out. They were actually sent out.
I've only just got hooked up on the end of last time. Oh, because that wasn't. Oh no, I only got it late.
Okay.
Carry on.
Okay, thank you. So can I get the seconder was Alan. Can I get all those in favour? It can only be councillors who can vote on those. That's everybody as far as I can see. Lovely. Thank you. That's all in favour. Thank you very much. There was no matters arising that I could see. Did any of the councillors see any matters arising that I've missed? Take that as a no. Okay, thank you. I will move on. Okay. So to receive the Mayor's Report 2019 to 2021, Elaine, can you get rid of me as host and hand over to Willow, and we will put my presentation up.
Should be there.
Okay. Brilliant. So we're just going to put a PowerPoint presentation up that I will be talking to. So hopefully you should be able to see that shortly. Excellent. There we go. Thank you very much. So tonight I'm going to be doing my Chris Whitty impression, and I'll say next slide, please. So tonight in the Mayor's report, I'm going to give an overview of the Town Council, its work, the challenges it's faced in its achievements and aspirations for the period of kind of June 2019 up until now. Thanks, Willow. Okay, so clearly over the past 2 years, we have faced some significant challenges. COVID-19 being the biggest one of all. But during this period, we managed to facilitate home working of all of the staff. And thanks to our preparedness, we were doing that prior to the national lockdown. We have the clerk to thank for her efforts in relation to that. We started switching to online council meetings. We had to wait for the relevant legislation to come into place. But doing this, we had to ensure that all councillors had the infrastructure to be able to access Zoom meetings, and we had quite a few how to Zoom lessons to ensure that everybody knew how to use it. But since we've been on Zoom, the council has had record attendances at its meetings, so we're really proud of that fact, and we hope that when we go back to having face-to-face meetings that good attendance will continue. By doing meetings via Zoom, we have been able to start to have all our committee meetings again and start to have planning meetings and do all of the meetings that we were doing prior to lockdown. So for us, COVID did pose a lot of challenges, and linked to the COVID-19, a significant issue has also been the loss of income. Due to COVID, we had to close our facilities in line with the restrictions, which obviously resulted in a loss of income for the Town Council. And in line with other councils and businesses at the beginning of lockdown, we weren't sure how long this was going to last for and how our finances would fare during this period. So early in the beginning of lockdown, we had to make some really tough decisions regarding our budget. And as a result of this, one of the difficult decisions that we had to make last year was to not award any grants. But hopefully that is something we're aiming to relook at this year. One of the other significant issues that has caused the council severe challenges is the harassment and bullying, particularly towards our staff members. And this unfortunately has come from members of the council and a few small number of the public of Downham Market. This behaviour is wholly unacceptable, especially to staff, as they are employees of the council and all their work is delegated to them by the Town Council. They act at the will of council. Unfortunately, we've also seen that this bullying has been extended to members of the electorate by certain individuals, and I really hope that this behaviour will stop going forward and Downham can go back to being a pleasant and nice place to live. Also, because of this, it has resulted in a lot of time being spent by the council dealing with complaints from members of the public and dealing with the ongoing issues of the bullying and harassment. Thanks, Willow. Okay, so I just wanted to spend a bit of time talking about finances. I've done a couple of quick pie charts. Hopefully they're reasonably, oh no, back one. Oh. Hopefully they're reasonably easy to look at. The first one is the income that we receive. So obviously you can see number one is our precept. That's where we get most of our income from. And the other ways we receive income is through licenses and rentals. So those things would be things like the market or people who rent properties from us. We also get incomes from grants, from the SIL, from property hire, so people who rent town halls or have weddings. And then we get a small amount of other income from things like allotments and the cinema. So that was our kind of general financial position, and we had an income of roughly 634,030 yeah, 634,000 headline figure, but that is subject to change because obviously we haven't done the year end yet. Willow, did you want to flick? Sorry. And in terms of expenditures, where do we spend our money? So in line with most other councils, a proportion of our money goes on remuneration, which is kind of staff costs, etc. The next kind of biggest chunk is asset management. We own a lot of assets as a town. So these things that would be costing us money are things like the town hall, our car parks, the town council offices and other buildings and assets that we own. We also spend money on administration, on finance in terms of loans. We have the market that costs us money. The neighbourhood plan currently is costing us some money. We also have grants that we give, new assets, which are things that we've bought, and kind of others are things like waste, for example, that we have to get rid of. So that's roughly how the council spends its money. And so far this year, we've spent 555,000, slightly more than that, but I'm kind of rounding the figures up. So the rest kind of we'll be able to provide you with accurate figures once the year end has closed, but they were just some headline figures of where we are in terms of the finances. But because of the action that we've taken, particularly over the past 2 years, the council now finds itself in a much better position to face the future. We now have reserves that are close to the levels that is suggested for parishes, and they're better than they have been for some considerable time. And because of this, it's enabled us to fund some emergency repairs to the town hall and some other things that I'll talk about later on in my presentation. Our budget going forward for next year is going to be a challenge because, again, we're not sure what the COVID restrictions will be or how long they will be in place for, but we are certainly financially in a better place now than we were a few years ago. So, thank you. Okay, when you're ready. Excellent, thank you. So I just wanted to spend a bit of time looking at the achievements of the council over the past couple of years. We have rewired the town hall. The wiring needed looking at as a matter of urgency. So we did that, but what we've done in doing that is future-proofed the town hall going forward. So it is now able to be used for a variety of different uses, which is really good news for us and the town. So market growth and development, as you know, we've been investing quite heavily in the market, hence why there was some in our expenditure. We are looking to develop a website and we have been doing some marketing for the market. We have a number of stalls on our books. I think there was over 25, I think, when we kind of looked at them, and we should be expecting them to come back over the next few weeks as we go on with the reopening of the market. As you know, we issued a new market license, and we had some feedback from that, and particularly we got comments from Graham Wilson, OBE, and he's an author of a book on market law. He's also a lecturer on market law, and his comments in terms of our license were that our arrangements are very comprehensive and there was nothing wrong with them, as they provide both you and the traders some certainty about the future. So it was really good to hear some positive feedback from an expert on our market license. Some of the other things that we hope to do with regards to the market is we're currently applying for funding from various sources to enable us to put together things like market starter packs for people who want to try out being a market trader. And we're really pleased to see that there is a variety of different stalls coming, and there are more coming over the next few weeks who have never traded before. One of the other really successful things that the town council achieved with some help from some of the stakeholders was Downham Market Live. It was a music event that went down really well in the town, and they were both free and paid for events that anybody could attend. Sadly, we did plan to have another Downham Market Live this year. Yeah, it was this, no, last year, 2020, and that had to be postponed, but we are looking to put on another one when we are able to do so, because it was such a well-received event. So watch this space for news on that. COVID-19 support. So as much as I kind of said that COVID-19 posed a challenge to the town council, I also think we excelled in our work around COVID-19. We, in the initial stages, signposted residents and other organisations to appropriate help and support. We supported a highly successful mask making initiative, which produced over 15,000 masks by over 20 volunteers who gave up their time to do so. These masks were supplied to anybody who wanted them in Downham Market and the surrounding areas and the local hospitals, and we received lots of public support for that. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of those volunteers and everybody who was involved in that initiative. It was so popular that it actually appeared on Radio Norfolk and some other nationwide radio stations. During COVID, we also recognised there was an impact it was having on businesses. So we signposted and helped some of the market traders and some of the businesses apply for grants that were being offered by the government through the borough to assist with their loss of income. And as you may have seen, we gave some help to the Methodist Church for them to deliver meals to those people who were unable to go out, and that was a really successful initiative. And the most recent thing that has happened for the benefit of Downham Market was that we worked really closely with the NHS, and again we have our clerk to thank for that, in order to open a vaccination centre in Downham, and that's been really well received by both the people of Downham, but I certainly know that people are travelling from far afield to access that facility as well. And as you may be aware, I read out an email at last week's full council meeting from a family who travelled from Ipswich, who were so impressed with the town they will be coming back to look round more in the summer. Thank you. Some of the other achievements is the neighbourhood plan development. We have a working group that is currently developing our neighbourhood plan. That group consists of councillors and members of the public and representatives from other organisations. That is open for anybody to attend, and it will be really good if people wanted to put their input into that. And we're hoping, as I come on to aspirations, I will kind of pick up what we intend to do next with the neighbourhood plan. We have upgraded the electrics for the market. Due to the expansion of the market, the electrics on the town hall side and the clock square were not fit for purpose. So we have upgraded all of those to enable us to have markets on both sides of the town hall, because it is getting popular. And also one of the things that we've done that you may have noticed is that we worked with the traders, and we have installed some bollards at the entrance to the town hall car park, because there was a problem with people parking overnight in that car park, which then caused issues for the market in the morning. And it seems that since we've installed those, there doesn't seem to have been that issue, which is good to hear for everybody. One of the other things that we did is we set up an environmental committee, and under that committee we completed a carbon audit and sustainability policy. and the town council has committed to looking at its environmental impact, and these are the first steps to enable us to do that. By doing the sustainability policy, it has meant that has impacted on other parts of town council business, but we're really pleased that people like the market traders have been really up for helping us do that and have embraced the non-plastic bag policy, which forms part of the sustainability policy. And we have also, as part of that, signed up to the refill project, where if you wish to have your bottle of water filled, there'll be a number of sites around the town that you can do that, but we haven't been able to fulfill that yet due to COVID and the restrictions that entailed, but that will be coming when we are able to do that. And lastly, on this slide is that we held a talent show. When we saw that most of our events for the year were going to be cancelled, we decided to try to do something else. So for the first time for the town council, we held an online talent show. We had such high quality of entrants, and it was a real pleasure to judge that. We also had some other really good judges, and we had an over 18s winner who was Beth Rose, and an under 18s winner who was Arabella Bishop. And hopefully at some point when we can put on events in the flesh, they will hopefully be able to come and perform for us. Okay, thank you. One of the things that we have been working with is the on-street parking. We've been working with County Council, and County Council have been doing this and liaising with the borough to simplify and streamline the on-street parking. There were lots of different parking regulations in different points of the town, and people were getting really confused. So that is happening. The on-street parking will be streamlined to make it easier for everybody. And we also received some funding from the parish partnership to make a crossing point just beside the town hall more dementia friendly. So that's really good news. We've been working really hard to improve our relationship with all tiers of kind of the local government, and when we have our town council meetings, we're really lucky and we have really good input from the borough councillors and the county councillor, and we've been trying hard to link with other organisations to develop relationships with those, and that's something that we hope to continue. When we held our councillor surgeries back in 2019, we began to hold them in different venues to try to encourage other people to find out more about the council and what the council did. So we held one in the Swan Centre and we held one in the high school. And we were looking to put them out to places such as care homes to make them more accessible, and that's something that we will continue to do. Okay. We signed the Armed Forces Covenant Pledge. This pledge ensured that members of the armed forces have the same access to government and commercial services and products as any other citizens, and we felt as a town council that was really important, so we have signed up to that. The town council has won some awards during this period, notably the Downham Market in Anglia and Bloom received a gold award, so again my thanks goes out to all of those people who were involved in that. We also received a West Norfolk Heroes Award for our COVID-19 support work, and we were awarded a grant for a Happy to Talk seat, which is a bench where people who are feeling socially isolated can go and sit on, and it's a bench where you sit on it if you wish to speak to somebody else. And I think post-COVID, where people have been isolated for long periods of time, this will be something that's really beneficial to the community, and it's going to be surrounded by a wellbeing garden and a wildlife friendly environment with bee hotels and wildlife bits in it. So I think that's a really good thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thanks, Willow. So just coming up to my kind of final slides really about the Town Council's aspirations. We hope to have a neighbourhood plan consultation. We're looking, as we said at the Town Council meeting last week, to hold this in the summer. That is dependent on obviously COVID restrictions, but we would really encourage all of the residents of Downham Market to take part in that consultation, because it's really important that we get your views and feedback, and we will let you know when we have firm dates of where and when that will be. Another aspiration we have is to continue to develop the market. We want to continue to grow the market. As I said, we're looking to hand out market starter kits. We're considering having speciality markets, night markets, and again, we'd be happy to hear anybody's ideas on that. I think that's quite exciting. We had planned to hold a sustainability conference in April of this year. Sadly, again, that had to be postponed due to COVID. So we are hoping to reinvigorate that next year. And I think, again, that's something that's really good for the town. It was looking at how we as a town can become more sustainable and how individuals of the town can feed into that. And lastly, for this slide, due to the budgetary constraints last year, we had planned to refurbish the town clock because it is suffering some rusting on the inside, and it is such an iconic landmark in the town that we hope to do this in the summer of this year. Again, that will be dependent on the COVID restrictions, but we're hoping to get that done and get it all shipshape again. Thanks, Willow. Another aspiration of the town is to set up a town partnership or a town board. And we were looking to do this to create a board of representatives from shops, businesses, organisations and other stakeholders from within the town, with council representation on that board, to enable greater working together and to enable us to kind of work together to look for what's best for Downham and look at ways that we can implement that. So I think that's really exciting, and we should have some more news on that over the next couple of months. One of the other things I think we'd really like to do is to continue to promote the town and the tourism in the town. Especially, you know, we focus a lot on the market over the past year or so. So looking at doing more promotion around the shops. We have some amazing independent retailers, the businesses in the town. We are in a fortunate position, and we are actually seeing new businesses opening up within the town, you know, despite COVID. So that's really promising. What we want to do is sell Downham Market as a destination. We want to try to encourage people to visit, and we've been working quite closely with the tourism department at the Borough Council to help us to do that. One of the other things that we will also look at under that is the issues with car parking again in the town. The Fen biosphere. So for those of you who don't know, there is an area within the Fens that they are looking to achieve a UNESCO biosphere status. And although there's 7 in the UK, none are in the east of England. And should this happen, Downham would be a gateway town to that Fen biosphere. So I know that Councillor Groom has been kind of liaising in relation to that, and we're going to be trying to link with that quite closely, because that has some amazing possibilities for Downham, and we will keep you posted on that. And lastly, for this page, events. Sadly, we had to cancel the majority of our events for last year and so far for the beginning of this year. But we are looking to put on events as soon as we can, and not just the events that prove extremely popular that we've always done, such as the Christmas lights and some Winolds and Down on Market Live, but I think we're looking to develop this and expand this, and we have lots of ideas as to how we might do that. Okay, and finally for aspirations, grant funding. There's quite a bit of grant funding out there at the moment, so we are looking to try to source and secure more grant funding for the town going forward. There's a lot of government schemes available at the moment that are replacing EU funding, and we have been working really closely with the borough on this, and we are hoping that we'll be able to kind of put out more information on this over the next kind of few weeks and months. But if we can receive more money into the town council and be able to allocate that money out, that would be a real benefit to the town. And lastly, in terms of our aspirations, it's increased consultation. We obviously want to work more closely with the community. As we said, we are setting up the town board, but we'd like to see much more consultation between the town council and the residents going forward. As I said, we're looking to hold more councillor surgeries in different venues and probably continue to hold them online because people seem to find our online meetings accessible. We will continue to listen to the public in relation to any major developments and planning applications and feed that back to the Borough Council. And we're trying to be more active when engaging with planners in pre-planning meetings to try to ensure that we get the best for the town. So that's it for my presentation. But what I'd like to say in conclusion is that everybody in Downham has faced a challenging time over the past year and a half. And certainly since the last annual town meeting. But during this time, the council has always endeavoured to keep the residents, visitors and its staff safe, whilst ensuring that the council was fully functioning. And I sincerely hope that at the annual town meeting next year, we will be able to report a different story. But I would like to kind of take this opportunity to thank the clerk, the staff and the councillors for their work and support over what has been a difficult couple of years. So thank you, and that is the end of my Mayor's report. Okay, so following on from that, we have some presentations. Firstly, agenda item number 6 is a presentation by Anna Foster on the Swan project, and then there will be a question and answer session with Anna after that. So as I don't have control, I will hand that over to Elaine or whoever, if there's a to do that.
Oh, Anna, are you there?
Hi, yes I am.
Anna, if you could put your video on, do you mind?
Oh, bear with.
Where have you gone? You've disappeared. Hello.
Hi.
All right, so
apologies, I've just finished work. I look terrible. We've had our first open access session back this evening, so it's been quite a manic day.
Okay. Anna, just so you know, Willow's got control of your slides, so if you just ask her when you want to move on.
Amazing, thank you. Thanks, Willow.
It's up and ready to go.
Great. So hello, I'm Anna. I'm project manager at the Swan Youth Project, and I'm just going to take you on a whistle-stop tour. As I said, I've just come out of a session this evening. We've had a really busy day today, so I'm sure you've all had busy days and don't want me waffling on too long. So I will go straight through and then any questions at the end. So we're Swan Youth Project. I thought we'd start with a quote from one of our young people, which is, "I love coming to the Swan Centre as I'm able to speak to people, and Swan Centre helps me with my mental health. coming here also makes me feel better about myself, and knowing that everyone is always there for me if I can't speak to anyone else. So I thought that was a good sum up of our project. And then you want to move on, Willow, for me? Thank you. So basically at Swan Project, everything that we do kind of comes from our open access sessions. So our open access sessions are the old traditional youth club sessions where young people can just drop in, they can chill out with their friends, they can take part in activities. We do lots of stuff outside. There's an art and craft room, we've got an older young person's room. And so they can chill out with us. We get back pre-COVID, we were getting about 50 young people on a Tuesday dropping by and about 40 on a Friday. And then we listen to what our young people want and consult with them. And then everything else that we do kind of grows from that start. So with our current services at the moment are the open access youth groups, one-to-one support for mild and emerging mental health. So anybody suffering, feeling low, feeling anxious about things can be referred in by the school, by themselves, by their families, and we can pick them up and support them. We also now offer family support. We have a family support worker at the centre 4 days a week. We have a hygiene bank, which is really well used. So any young people can drop by and come and get anything from our hygiene bank, which covers things like deodorant, body wash, shampoo, sanitary products, all sorts of different things, and they can come and pick those up free. And we know that's a really important service to our young people. We also offer small groups that support well-being and social and emotional issues. We have a peer mentors project where peer mentors come and help us run the project and bring in ideas and lead sessions and do things like tuck shop, that kind of thing they're responsible for. We are in the process of setting up a youth cafe and a second-hand clothing shop, which we kind of almost ready to go. We're just waiting for lockdown, the last bits of lockdown to lift. And we also offer our young people vocational taster and industry sessions. So we've taken them to places like Swan, and they've had sessions there about understanding about all of the different things that they could do working in a vets. We've been over to Open Road in Kings Lynn and built go-karts and taken go-karts racing. So we tried to link also lots of other ones. We've done lots of things to get young people out to industry and raise aspiration and inspiration. So can I have the next one, Willow, please?
Hopefully she hasn't dropped out. Oh, there we go.
Great, thank you. So this is just an overview of 2021 so far, just to give you an idea of the numbers of young people that we engage with. We haven't let COVID stop us at all, we've just cracked on. So we know that obviously the issues and problems that our young people face don't go away just because there's a pandemic going on and they can't leave the house. Actually, it's got a whole lot worse for a lot of our young people. So you can see just this year, so far, in January, for instance, 73 young people visited us for open access sessions, and they visited 182 times just in January. So I'm not going to go through all of the figures, but it just gives you an idea of the number of young people that we are supporting and the range of different groups and clubs that they can come to within that time. We kind of had to be masters of change all the way through COVID because we couldn't have the large numbers in. So we had to make lots and lots of small groups, things like Supper Club, which feeds 6 young people at a time. And that's been supported by the local RAF chefs who come in and cook for the young people. So we've identified 6 to 8 young people that would really benefit from that. So we look at what's needed and we try and come up with creative ways of supporting young people no matter what. So yeah, those are our stats. So can we have the next one, please? So our groups, as I've just said, we've become masters of change. Our young people have told us, obviously, they much prefer the face-to-face groups to the online alternative. We know that we've had no option sometimes to support young people over Zoom or via WhatsApp or on the phone, but where possible, we need to get to our young people face to face, because that's the most impactful, and young people feel most at ease talking to us that way. Often there would be family in the background or friends or disruptions, so it's been difficult for young people to talk to us over Zoom, and that is not what they want. So the fact that we've been able to stay open has been amazing, and we've still been able to see young people one-to-one throughout all of that time. So the participation of young people that we have is really good, as you would have seen on the stats. We get to a lot of young people, and that is during sort of lockdown period, obviously January to March. So we are only just back to open access today. So our very first open access today, for example, 30 young people came straight back in to see us this evening, which is amazing when we've not been able to see everybody for such a long time. Feedback from our young people is really, really good. We try and get feedback all of the time, so that we can obviously make sure we're on the right tracks with what we're doing. So, family work. We have welcomed Sonja. Sorry, that's fine to be on family work, Willow. We welcomed Sonia, our family worker, into the project in January. She came from a local preschool. She was manager of the preschool, so she knows lots of families in the town already, and lots of young people. She's been an amazing asset to us, and she's currently supporting 14 families with a whole range of different things. So it could be parenting support, it could be behaviour, it could be about attendance at school, all sorts of different things she can support. She's listens in confidence, and is able to offer advice and signpost to other services where necessary, and also support the young people at the same time as the family. So it's been an amazing addition and part of our sort of holistic vision for the centre, that we're doing the whole joined up care, not just young people's support in isolation. So then there's just some feedback about from some of the parents that have been supported. I'll just read out the first one. From the first meeting at the Swan project, I found the team to be very welcoming and easy to talk to. Sonja has been so supportive and has helped me to understand my daughter more, and offers help and practical solutions to deal with issues. There was no judgment, just kind words. Sonja has been supporting my daughter to manage and understand her emotions, and there has been a remarkable difference in how our family now interacts together. I cannot praise this service enough. So, you know, just from having an outside person to talk to, with a different perspective and time to offload about how things are going, it can make a huge difference to a family. Thank you, Willow. Can we have the next one? So our one-to-one support is for young people who might have early mental health issues and concerns. We are at a low level of support for the one-to-one. We're not picking up young people who really need that higher level of support. So this is about preventative work to stop young people from then needing to escalate on to further services. So we are extremely busy with this kind of support. Our worker only has 6 slots available, and they are constantly full with young people. We're able to work through with young people about where they are in their lives at the moment and what kinds of issues they've got going on, and then think of practical solutions on how to make changes and accept that some things we can't change and some things we can. So they are really valuable sessions. And then we can also refer young people from the one-to-one back into our open access sessions or onto other support that we offer. So it all works in really well together. Thanks, Willow. So our young people, as I've said, give us lots of different feedback. We take feedback all of the time. This is just a little selection. So for example, about the hygiene bank. The hygiene bank is really good because I know if I need it, I can go. It helps me because I get the things I need that I can't get elsewhere. So today, for example, we've had 2 young women use the hygiene bank this evening, and they've been able to get sanitary products that they really need and things like deodorant and shower gels that their families can't really afford. And obviously it's so important to self-esteem and how young people feel about themselves. So we're really proud of our hygiene bank, and we know it does a great job for young people. So I think Swan Centre is absolutely amazing because it's super fun and lets me communicate with others and meet many new people. Again, it's about that social time and giving young people time to just be and reflect and be happy in their own skin, that we know is so important. Thanks, Willow. So this one is about where we get our funding. So we get no statutory funding at all, and are totally reliant on fundraising and grants to keep the project going, which is a big old thing in itself to just keep raising that money. It costs us around £85,000 a year to run the services that we do, which is actually extremely good value for money for the amount of young people that we support and the provision that we supply. We're always looking for fundraising ideas, so if anybody has fundraising ideas, then please do come forward. We are always eager to listen and work with other people to raise funds. We've launched a Just Giving page recently, which makes it easier for us to raise funds and for people also to raise funds for us. And we have 2 teams walking in the Walking for Norfolk Challenge in May, which James Bagg, who is our patron, he has launched another walk. So if anybody fancies getting involved in that and raising funds for us, would be extremely grateful. So yeah, it's a constant treadmill to get the money coming in that we know is so needed. So we link with lots of people. We know that collaboration is the best way forward. Some of the people that help us a lot are RAF Wittering. We've got quite a few guys from RAF Wittering that come down. They're fantastic. They help us with the maintenance of the building. They help us with our supper club. One of them is a trustee on our trustee board. We also link with the Garage in Norwich, which is an arts project. We access sessions via them and are in very close contact with their sister project in King's Lynn. We're hoping to do some more sessions over the summer holidays. We also get great support from For Frock's Sake in Downham. They give us clothes for our young people. So when they've got kind of end of line stock going, Sarah gives me a call and I go and pick up the clothes. They've been extremely supportive, and they're going to support also our Nearly New project as well, which is fantastic. Morrison's in Downham have been amazing. They've been helping our No Child Goes Hungry project. Julia, their community champion, I'm sure everybody will have met, is amazing and really supportive, and bends over backwards to help all the time. So we're really grateful. We're also part of a new initiative, which is the Sir Norman Lamb Coalition for Young People, which is about mental health support. And they help with funding, training, networking, which is amazing. And we also get great support from our local borough council. They give us funding and emotional support, general support. They're always there for us. So we're really, really grateful to them too. And the next slide is going to be Frances. So Frances Rayner should be here somewhere, and she's going to talk you through the No Child Goes Hungry scheme, which is also comes under Swan Project, was a spin-off, and she's going to do the next little bit.
Okay, thanks Anna, thanks. Hi everyone. Right, like Hannah, I'll keep it short and sweet, but just to give you a flavour of how this scheme came about. So it was October of last year when I think I put a post on Facebook because somewhere in King's Lynn was asking for food parcels to help with this project, you know, feeding children, because the government had stopped the voucher scheme. And I think I put a post on social media asking whether there was anything in Downham Market, and it spurred a discussion with another parent, and we then decided to go to the food bank and talk to them, and also to involve Anna and the team at the Swan Project, because we felt that seemed to be a really good other organisation that should be involved in this. So yeah, so we kind of had a little team of us together. So Alex down at the food bank, Anna, a lady called Harriet Tunnicliffe, who's got young children, and then myself. We formed this little group and we spent sort of time together planning what we were going to do. We managed to fundraise, and we did raise a considerable amount of money at Christmas. Lots of businesses in the community as well as individuals came forward with donations. We had cash, we had vouchers, we had food, and we put together a food parcel project for Christmas where we delivered 2 weeks worth of food parcels, and we literally delivered the lot. I think we had 93 children each week, and each child within the family group who was applicable received huge bags of food and goodies, Christmas crackers, advent calendars, chocolate kind of selection boxes, a whole raft of things. And again, I think it's worth Morrison's having a mention again, because they were really fundamental. Morrison's, as well as the butchers in the precinct, John's Butchers, massive donations of foods came from them, and it just went on, and it grew and grew, and we were able to do some fantastic work at Christmas, which was great, with a huge group of volunteers who were just so pleased to give up their time to make this happen. We came out of Christmas thinking, you know, this is really, really successful, but we knew we were going down into another lockdown. And you know, what we were very conscious of was that there was children that were, you know, the voucher scheme was coming back in from the government, but we knew there was a lot of families, a lot of children who were not entitled to the vouchers because they just didn't fall, their family situation, their parents' situation didn't fall into any category where they were getting extra money or extra help and support. So we then went into kind of, again, the four of us went back into discussion about what can we do so that we could aim our food parcels at those children most in need during the period of lockdown. We'd always thought that throughout the year that we would continue to feed children at school holiday times. We thought there would be a need then, but we were then faced with this. We've got several weeks ahead of us. Luckily, we had a lot of funding. I think we were really good with donations, making sure that we spent wisely, and we had money left to keep the scheme going. And we were also really, really pleased that the Swan Youth Project, Anna and her team wanted to take the lead. So rather than it be a mashup of volunteers running this, you know, Anna at the Swan really drove this thing forward and said that they'd take the lead on it. Managed to get some funding around Sonja's hours, and we were really pleased that we had some funding in there for somebody to kind of run and guide the project. And that funding took us up to the end of March, and we're now, and I'm sure Anna will tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe, and I think I know, that we've got funding for that role to the end of the year, which is really good and says something about where we are as a community and what we need to deliver. So we've been, again, a group of volunteers every Monday morning for the last, well, from January the 18th it started, and we continue every Monday morning. You'll find us in Morrison's or Tesco's at 8 o'clock doing a shop, getting all the food together. Then we go back to the Swan project and we pack the bags, and then the families come in and pick up their food. And these are, you know, we are talking about families who are, you know, suffering, they've lost hours at work, or they've been furloughed, you know, families in need, dire need because of the COVID situation. And you'll see from this slide how many, you know, 503 food parcels that we've delivered, 50 families in excess that we've supported, and in excess of 117 children, you know, between January and the end of March, which is absolutely superb. I'm really pleased to say that the numbers are going down, and we had our lowest week this week, and you know, people are going back to work, people are getting their, you know, their lives a little bit back on track, which is exactly what we need. But you know, we're we're going to have a review of the scheme, you know, in the next couple of weeks to see how we want to continue delivering it. But we do honestly believe that this scheme is something that's absolutely much needed and probably will be right through the year, dependent on what happens with COVID, dependent on how these final people get back to work as well. We work very much with other organisations that provide food. So whilst the Swan took over the project, we still, you know, work with the food bank, because, you know, often we'll have people come to us for food and it might be that they don't fit into how our scheme operates. So then we will, you know, signpost them to Alex and the food bank down at the Eternity Church. Yeah, so it's been absolute pleasure from my perspective as a volunteer to help and support on, and you know, and I intend to continue with that throughout the months to come. Hence why I've been bugging the life out of Elaine. So and I no apologies for that, Elaine, but I know that you've been really, really helpful. So we're going to have a fundraiser. We are running out of money now. We do need to secure some more funding for the food. So we've got a fundraiser going on in the Market Square, the clock side, a 12-hour spin-a-thon. We're taking a virtual route from Downham Market to Civray in France. So 600 miles of cycling needs to be completed across 12 hours. So we're going to be there 8 till 2 on the Friday, the 30th, 8 till 2 on Saturday the 1st. I've got a whole team of people coming down to ride the bikes. Alive Leisure have kindly let us borrow their bikes, and obviously you guys at the council have been really supportive in letting us have a space so we can do that. We promise we'll keep everything above board with COVID security, and you know, it's not about drawing a crowd, but we do hope that people will come along and they will donate either some cash in a bucket, or it will be through our the Just Given page that Anna talked about earlier. So yeah, so please do, as members of the council, it'd be great to see you come down and come and say hello to us on the day. And you know, if you want to find out more about the scheme and how it's operating and talk to some of our volunteers, we're all going to be there across the 2 days, so you'll be able to do that. So yeah, so that's it from me. Thanks very much for giving us the chance to tell you all about the scheme. Brilliant.
Thanks, Frances.
I was just going to say, I thought you were going to say all the councillors come down and do a bit of cycling. I thought you missed your opportunity there.
Well, they can if they want to. We've still got some slots left, so feel free.
Okay, so I just wanted to kind of give members of the public or councillors the chance to ask Anna and Frances any questions. I would just wait for the screen sharing to stop, then I can kind of see, hopefully, most people to see if anybody wants to. So if anybody wants to ask a question, if you put your hands up, I'll let you go. So first of all, I've got Councillor White, I've got you.
Yeah, we've seen these slides and everything, Becky. Is it possible to have a copy of these slides? You know, the council one and the Swan Centre ones, subject to data, of course. I don't know if, you know, if any of those good photos you will show us or not, or if I don't make mistakes. But if I'd like a copy of, you know, the council and the Swan one.
Yeah, of course we can. We can make sure they're all sent out to you, and we'll put some on. You know, if they're happy for us to share, then when we put the minutes up on the website, we'll put a copy of the slides on the website as well, so they'll be available to you. No, that's absolutely.
And obviously they will be showing up on YouTube.
Yeah. And
yeah, that's all right for you on YouTube. I'm like, can you send it to me?
Yeah, no, we'll do that. Not a problem. Any other questions for Frances or Anna? No. Oh, yep. Councillor Bullen, Andy.
On mute. Thank you very much, Anna. Fantastic presentation. What's your biggest fear and threat and challenge which you face at the Youth Project?
Boringly, it's going to be money, I'm afraid. So yeah, it's about keeping the funding coming in. As I said, it's around £85,000 a year that we have to keep coming in, and we know that the services are so vital for young people. So that takes up a lot of time and effort, and is something that you're just on the treadmill all the time. So I definitely think that is our biggest challenge always.
And does that detract from delivering your services, the time you'd spent on raising money?
Yeah, we're a really small project. There's 5 staff, so we're tiny and we do an awful lot of work. So you just have to be a bit of a jack of all trades in some ways. You know, like today, I'm project manager, but I deliver. I do the funding bids. I do some of the accounts. You know, we have to do everything. So yeah, it does detract because our focus really needs to be the young people, and we've got to fundraise and do all of that as well. So that's why it would be amazing if anybody locally wants to help us fundraise and get some money coming in, would be brilliant.
You do an amazing job.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Just so people are aware that the Town Council is looking to reintroduce its grant scheme, and our grant applications are open at the moment. They've just opened and they will be open till the end of May. So we will point you guys into the direction of our grant forms. So that's just a kind of heads up there. I've got Councillor Patel. You'll need to unmute yourself.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. May I ask Mrs. Foster, how much donation is the Borough Council giving towards the Swan project, please?
So I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you that, am I? I'm not sure.
Probably not. You might kind of have to answer that offline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may email me as well.
Borough Council are very supportive of our project because they recognise actually that we're keeping a lot of antisocial behaviour that would be going on. You know, 90 young people in, say, last month were engaged with what we were doing. We're keeping those young people off the streets. So they are well aware of the impact that we're having. Yeah,
to be fair, we've been supporting it because I'm a borough councillor as well. So I've been like saying that Swan Centre and stuff like that. My son Rish comes to Swan Centre. Well, hasn't been there for the last 2 months, but he does come there occasionally. You probably realise who he is. But I think you're doing a fabulous job and a remarkable job. And you might get a donation from me soon.
Hooray!
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments to Anna and Francis?
I would just say, Becky, if anybody wants to come and visit, then please, we would really encourage people to come down and have a look round. I'm really happy to bore people to tears about what we do. I'm happy for, you know, because I think there's maybe some misconceptions about what a youth project does and the breadth of what we cover. So I'm really happy to show people around and talk to them about it. Just obviously contact us in advance and please do come and have a look round.
Yeah, and I would second, having kind of been down there and had a look round and held a council surgery down there, I would recommend that to everybody because it is some fantastic work that you both do. Elizabeth, I've got you, and then I think I'm just trying to keep an eye on all of
go to the other page. I couldn't see anyone else.
No.
I was just wondering, could you tell us the times that you're open so that we know when to schedule a visit?
Yeah, we are there on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. And we're there, I get in just after 8 in the morning, and we're generally there till about 6:30 in the evening. So bags of time.
Thank you. Thanks, Elizabeth. Any other questions? Frank, was your hand up then, or was it just a wave? I'll take it as a no, you're on mute, so... That's fine.
I was going to ask questions about the interaction with James Bagg and the carers. Is he still walking for them?
Yeah, he is. So James has got the Walking for Norfolk charity, and so he's about to start this new fundraiser. But I think what he's decided this time is that different charities can choose, you know, different groups of walkers can choose different charities to raise money for. But if you go and have a look at his website, it's all amazing and it tells you exactly what's going on. So yeah, he's very much involved, still young carers.
I'd say I've followed him now for 3 years and supported him for 3 years. So I wonder what he's up to. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Frank. any other questions or anything? Can't see any.
No, I can't see anyone.
Okay, no, I'll take that as a no then. So I'd just like to thank both of you so much for coming in and giving your presentations this evening. It's really good to see the really great work that's happening in Downham, even though it's a bit sad that people are having to use kind of services such as the food bank and the No Child Goes Hungry, and hopefully, as you said, Francis, those numbers will go down as things kind of return to normal. But obviously it is something that is vital for town. So thank you so much for coming tonight and sharing those with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
No worries. Thank you. So I will move on to agenda item number 8, which is local government electorate participation. In this part of the meeting, it is open for residents of Downham Market to contribute, make statements, ask questions, but obviously any contributions which are abusive, offensive or improper will not be allowed. So that's just to clarify that at this point. Elizabeth, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I had my neighbour couldn't get online, so she came here, but she's feeling so unwell, she's gone home and she's left her question with me.
Yep.
So just this is her question. She's written it out for me. May I read it?
You can read it, yes. And could you just let us know, can we just let her know her name, Elizabeth? We know
Emily Brennan.
Okay, thank you. And we know that.
And she lives at number 3.
Yeah, that's fine.
So what is the council doing to stop the spread of fake news about the council wanting to close the market when it's clearly the opposite? Also, what is the council doing to stop the bullying by some veteran traders to newcomers?
Okay, so I will kind of pick up. I'll come back if I miss any points. So in terms of the bullying, so can you just repeat that, Elizabeth, just so I can make a note? Sorry, just do one at a time for me.
Okay, you want the bullying one first?
Yeah, do the bullying one first, that's fine.
What's the council doing to stop the bullying by some veteran traders on the market to newcomers?
Okay.
And I don't know how she knows about that because I haven't told her.
Okay. So I would say in terms of the bullying of veteran traders towards newcomers, if this is brought to our attention, that's obviously something that we would address with those traders, because obviously the town council has a non-bullying, zero tolerance policy. So that is something that we would address, because bullying should not take place in any part of the council or any facility that is run by the council. So we will certainly kind of look at that and take that forward, and we will kind of see what issues there are in relation to that. Okay. What was the second question, Elizabeth?
Well, it was the first, but
yeah,
what is the council doing to stop the spread of fake news about the council wanting to close the market when it's clearly the opposite?
Okay, so as you are right, there has been a lot of news out there, and the town council has been called a faction of the town council has been called market wreckers. Hopefully, as you've seen from our presentation this evening, we are doing everything we can to grow and develop the market, and that has always been our intention. We have been posting things on social media, but when that currently has happened, we just tended to get abuse back. So we have outsourced our social media posts to a social media company to help with that, to try and allay people's spreading those falsehoods. And we will continue to say it in every town council meeting and at every opportunity, that it is the town council's intention to grow and develop the market. And as somebody said, the town needs a market, but equally the market needs a town. So we need to work together and try, all of us, to dispel those falsehoods, because they're certainly not true at all. Thank you.
Sorry, Becky, may I just
add and make everybody aware that if they do hear anything that is at all puzzling, or if they do have questions to raise, if they pop them on our town council Facebook page or our website, then they will hear the truth about the situation rather than relying on whispers.
Yeah,
that would be helpful.
And equally, if any members of the public has heard anything, again, if you contact the clerk, she will happily give you the truth of the matter that is happening, rather than anything that you might read on social media or hear whilst out and about around the town. Thanks for that, Joe. I've got a couple of questions that were sent in prior to the kind of meeting by email. I will just go over to those. The first one is from Peter Martin from Bridge Street. Bear with me, I've got them all on different bits of paper and I have to whizzle over to them to find where it is. Okay. And his question was, are the council going to implement the car parking as agreed? And if we don't, you will kill the town, especially now that there are out of town developments. As people may be aware, the town council did vote several years ago now to look at implementing paid parking within the town. Due to COVID, that has been put on hold. But when we revisited the committees at a council meeting, I think it was last month or the month before, we did allocate members of the council to sit on the car parking strategy committee. So that will be up and running again shortly, and we will look to revisit that and then take that forward as it was agreed at full council. So hopefully that's answered that question. Okay, the next question. Unfortunately, in light of what I said earlier, we have received questions from Doug Lawson, which are not only abusive and offensive in particular towards staff, but which contain statements he is in a position as a councillor to know are false, and which were clearly intended by him to come to the attention of the staff concerned and cause them distress and anxiety. In consequence, we will be reporting the communication to the police and asking them to investigate whether an offence has been committed under Section 1 of the Malicious Communications Act, and therefore we will not be answering these questions this evening. Okay. I also have some other questions that have been sent to me via email, so bear with me whilst I get them up and read them out. So this one is from Mrs. Collins, who has supplied her address, but she wants that not to be shared as she is a resident of Downham Market, because we have checked. Madam Mayor or Chairman of Finance, as a resident of the town and someone who contributes to the precept, I am not particularly pleased to see such an increase this year, which seems to be twice that of last year. Looking for value for money, I am struggling. You may say we have free parking, but that only helps people who live out of town. People who live in Downham mainly walk into the shopping area. Clearly, it is no secret there is a staged war ongoing between people who don't live in Downham, some traders, some council members and the town council. If this is attributed to the increase in precept for all of those who live in the town, then those people should be accountable for their actions and the increase in charge to every household here, the majority of whom have no interest in the continued rants and moans of the people who should be behaving in a more professional manner. Can I therefore have a reason for the increase as follows? I note from the budget lines there has been a substantial increase in town clock and town hall in general. Have the town clock and town hall been ignored for the last few years so that they have deteriorated to such an extent they suddenly require such large sums invested in them? Please could you identify why the increase is required? So hold on, I'm going to come back so I can see people. Then answer that one. So I'm quite happy to answer that, and if the Chair of Finance wishes to jump in please do. So the reason that we had to spend so much money on the town hall was the electrics did need urgent repair, and that was required. We had no choice other than do that, and we had repaired them previously, but when we completed the survey, it was shown that they needed repair, so we had to do it. It was a matter that we couldn't leave, so that was why that one was done. With regard to the town clock, a number of years ago, before my time on the council, it's my understanding, so I may get this wrong, so if any of my other council colleagues want to jump in, was coated with a special coating which was supposed to protect it, and for a period of a number of years. Unfortunately, this coating has failed, and subsequently we have found that there is damage underneath that coating which requires urgent repair. We tried to take redress against the company who had painted the clock, but unfortunately they are no longer in business, so we haven't been able to recoup any money for the work that was previously done. But again, when we've had specialists in to look at the state of the kind of clock underneath this coating, sadly it was discovered that it needed to be repaired and repainted to prevent any further deterioration. So that's why we're having to spend kind of money on the town clock going forward. Councillor Pyatt, is there anything that I missed in terms of the town clock? You are the expert, or was that a general okay summary of where we are with that? Was that okay? Yeah, fine. Thank you. I didn't want to make sure I wanted to give the right information. The second question, legal expenses, is this due to the ongoing hostilities between the above mentioned group of people against the town council and the associated battles as seen and read in the public arena? If so, please explain why this increase was required and for what reason. The answer to that is that we have increased legal costs, and yes, some of those are related to seeking advice from solicitors with regards to protecting our members of staff from ongoing harassment and bullying and vexatious comments from councillors and from members of the public. So sadly, that has caused us to have an increase in our legal costs, but also the legal costs have been incurred for various other things that we needed to do that weren't related to that. So hopefully again that's answered that question. And if it doesn't, then I'm quite happy to share any further information with regards to those. I'm just checking again to make sure that there's been, I think that was all of the questions that had been forwarded to me. Okay, so any questions from the floor this evening? If you're on phone, you can just kind of unmute and say hey or raise your hand.
If you're not picture, it's more important than
pardon.
The videos we can't see. If you're not on video, we can't see you do anything.
No. So if anybody's not on video and wishes to ask a question, you just unmute yourself and say yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, yeah.
Hello. Yeah, it was I'm a Downham resident, so I was going to ask a question as a resident. There has been a reduction in certain childcare services, i.e. breakfast clubs at the school and etc., which is impinging on a lot of parents' ability to work. I know the Willows nursery is one of the few that actually has lengthier hours, but a lot of parents, as you say, they're using facilities like the Swan project. No child goes hungry. The cost of that just simply isn't feasible for a lot of people, even if they are working. So I was just wondering whether, you know, in general, there were any discussions around that with the schools.
Currently, no, because schools wouldn't come under town council remit. It would be county council remit. So we wouldn't necessarily get involved with that. But obviously, if there's something that you wish us to feed up to that level, then we'd be more than happy to do that on your behalf. And if you want to kind of ping that to me, I mean, I'll take the question forward for you, but if you want to kind of ping it to me in an email as well, I'll make sure that our county councillor takes that forward for you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm going to bring it up with just in general as an issue, you know, post-pandemic issue, but just to let you know, it is affecting a large majority of parents in the town. Thank you.
No, thank you for that. That's really helpful.
It went a bit fuzzy, so I didn't hear exactly what you said, but thanks for answering it anyway.
No, I said thank you for that. That was really helpful, and we'll certainly look into that for you.
Cheers, thanks.
Okay.
And that was Eve Haddock, wasn't it, Eve?
It was, yeah. Okay. Any other questions from anybody?
Let me just go to the next page.
Problem when there's more than one page, you have to flick in between.
I can't see if anybody from the dead screens wants to raise an arm or put something in. I can't see anybody.
No.
But perhaps they need to shout out if there is anyone, just so we cover everybody.
Okay, I'll give them a couple of seconds just to unmute if they wish to ask a question. I'll just whiz to the other screen. No,
I can't see anybody.
Can't see anybody else. So if there's no other further questions this evening, I'd like to thank you all for attending the annual town meeting, and hope that next year we may be able to do it in person. And once again, thank you all for attending, and I will close the meeting at 8:26. Thank you. Have a good evening.